Hey, welcome to Pat's Soundbytes IGTV. Keeping new music alive is what I do on the radio and now on video. Conducting live chats with the artists and learning the stories behind their latest release and also playing their new video. And a very special thank you to my good friend Gail Parento at Parento Guidance, Public Relations Strategist. Parento Guidance is a leading New York-based firm that has represented the likes of Bob Hope Enterprises, Hooters, Playboy, Bon Jovi Entertainment and Bon Jovi Acoustics, the Village Voice Opie Awards, the Princess Grace Foundation, the New York City Marine Corps Council Annual Mess Night, the rock band Boston, two-time Olympic gold medalist Catalina Witt, and many other cultural publishing, nonprofit, and commercial clients. For more information, contact Gail via email at gailparentoguidance.com or by phone 212-532-3934. Special thanks today to my sponsor, Go-Go Tuners. For all guitar players looking for a focus on ease of use, readability, durability, and accuracy, look no further. The Go-Go Tuner is the choice of many touring professionals and a favorite of casual players. Go-Go's signature green you're in and red you're out screen makes tuning quick and easy. For more information, go to the website at gogotuners.com. Special thanks to WBXO Classic Rock Radio Redefined, allowing me to keep new music alive on the radio airways on the Pat Show every Sunday from 5 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. Only on WBXO Classic Rock Redefined. And a big thank you to Mr. Evan Balzer for allowing me to use his amazing instrumental that you're hearing right now. It's called Trails. To find out more incredible music by Evan, go to his website at evanbalzer.com. And today's guest is artists Eve and Steve Schaub. That's right, art today, not music, but they go hand in hand. Yes, Eve and Steve are the owners of the Hayfield Gallery. That's right, Hayfield, across from their home in Paulette, Vermont. We're going to talk to Eve and Steve about this creative process, the concept. We're going to bring up their website, show some pictures. We're going to have some fun and a whole lot more right here on Pat's Soundbytes IGTV. Hey, welcome to Pat's Soundbytes IGTV, keeping new music alive on the radio and the video, but today's a special edition because I got good friends here, Eve and Steve Schaub. Am I saying it right? Schaub?
Yes.
Okay.
Schaub.
Eve and Steve here from Vermont, and my people that know me know music and art go hand in hand. My nephew's an artist. I can barely draw Snoopy, but everybody else in my family loves art, and I fell in love with these guys. You know, just because we got this lockdown and we're like looking to do things, these guys hit it out of the box. The music world, we're starting to go through drive-ins to see your favorite show, the old drive-in movie theater. Well, if you want to go to an art gallery, they got the Hayfield Art Gallery for you, and it's a beautiful ride not far from here in the Mid-Hudson Valley. So let me welcome, while somebody's calling me, and I'm not answering the phone. Thank you. Let me welcome Eve and Steve Schaub. How are you guys?
Great, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, you guys, I mean, this is amazing. I mean, where are we at here? This is called, it's actually the Hayfield Gallery, 671 River Road, Paulette, Vermont. So I know the whole story, and I'll let you guys take it from there. We're in lockdown mode. Eve, you're an artist, painter. Steve, you're an incredible photographer. You guys both went to RIT and married and daughters, and said, we got to do something. And man, did you hit it out of the box. So tell me how this all began. Tell me how crazy it is. And we'll talk about the future. And I got a ton of questions. So go ahead.
Absolutely. Eve, do you want to start up?
Well, yeah. So not long after the, lockdown began, we were faced with a lot of shows that were canceled or indefinitely postponed, and we were feeling like a real sense of urgency. How can we, reach out to people and still show them our artwork, ideally in person, because there's nothing like seeing artwork in person.
Absolutely.
But, we want people to still be able to be safe and follow all the guidelines. So how could we do that? And we're so used to dealing with, gallery spaces, the white box, and we had to think literally out of the box. And we said, what can people see that they can still even stay in their car? So we thought, wait a minute, drive-by art.
Yep.
We have all this field across the street from our house, and it's just sitting there, and people could drive by. And if we make the work big enough, they can be perfectly safe and still experience art in person.
And we had talked about doing large outdoor artwork displays for quite a long time now, and just never really had the opportunity. And now
we thought, well, this is it.
This is it. This is the moment. So we started out, we started out making one, and the piece was 10 feet wide. But what's interesting is the artworks that Eve and I make, for indoor display are normally between 8 feet and say 30 feet in size. Inside of a gallery. But when you take 10, 20, 30 feet and larger and put it in an enormous Vermont hayfield, it's amazing.
The scale changes tremendously. All of a sudden, it feels much smaller than it started out.
So we started with the idea of one, and we had such a good time doing it, and it was so much fun. And the response from our community was so strong that we said, let's do another. And then we did another. And it's just been building, and the momentum has just been building. And it's been really satisfying making the work.
Yeah, we've had 100% positive response. It's been fantastic. People coming from all over to see it. They hear about it. They come from hours away. It's really gratifying. How would you describe the art? Is there a title to it? Some sort of photography, canvas? What is there how do you describe, I guess, I don't want to say theme, but how do you say this is what it's about? My nephew goes to Montserrat School of Arts in Beverly, Massachusetts, and he's a wonderful. Okay.
He's an
illustrator. In fact, when I come up to see you guys in a week or two, I'm going to bring him because I know he'll be really excited to meet you guys. But what's it called? Is it called a certain kind of canvas art? Photography?
This is the number one question. Yeah. This is the number one question we get. People will come in, whether it's into the gallery or seeing the pieces outdoors, and they go, what exactly is this? Is it painting? Is it photography? And it's kind of a hybrid mixture of a lot of different things. But the best way we can distill it is to say that it's in-camera collage on film.
I only work in film. I don't work in digital in terms of the capture. So it's an in-camera collage on film. So I'm collaging the images in the camera itself, so it's not done in Photoshop and post-production. And then normally, when Eve and I are doing work for galleries or art institutions, we work on rare and handmade papers, like Egyptian papyrus, gampi from Japan, papers from Bhutan, all over the world. But for these pieces, because they had to be able to survive, hopefully 6 months outside, we printed on a very durable vinyl material. And I was able to do all the stuff in the studio myself, which makes it to where we could afford to put this work on. And this was the first time I've ever worked on this material. And making pieces this big and putting them outside and thinking, what happens when a 60-mile-an-hour wind hits this thing? What happens in a rainstorm?
There's all kinds of things that you have to think about that we've never had to think about before. So it's been really fascinating.
Yeah, it has.
And also not focusing on making it so that it's going to last forever. Yeah. Which has always been, we have to use archival this, and everything has to be a certain, acidity, and you have to be very careful. And nope, all that goes out the window. Now is when people are going to see this. It's a real immediacy of the piece.
Yeah.
How long is the process? How long did it take you just to do the first one? When you put the concept down and said how?
Because there was nothing else really going on at the time, we're stuck at home. It was about 10 days. We were able
No, it was faster.
You think so?
Yes.
All right.
We were highly motivated.
Okay. It was
We
fast.
were like, all right, we have to make this happen. It's a matter of just a few days. Really.
Yeah.
And because we had, like we said, we had been talking about this for a long time. And finally it was like, this is it.
It felt longer. Because it was stressful. You know, when you're making pieces this big, I mean, the first piece was 10 feet, and that's small for us in terms of most of the works that we do. But then you're building this structure that weighs hundreds and hundreds of pounds, pouring 400 or 500 pounds of concrete so it doesn't blow away.
So it stays in place.
Yeah, and then, you know, learning things. Every one that we've done has been a learning process. The largest piece that we've put in is 32 feet wide.
That was the last one.
Yeah. And it's massive. And 32 feet, it took 5 of us to actually be able to push it up.
It was like an Amish barn race.
It was crazy.
I watched it
and it took like 12 hours to install these. Yeah, it was. It was truly.
We have a video of the whole thing.
Yeah.
The process from beginning to putting the thing up to the last, you know, final installation shots, all on our website, which is evensteve.com.
That's the one thing is that we tell people, if you can come to Vermont, the best way to experience art is always in person. But if you can't, you know, on our website, we try to document the whole process. From me making the works to Eve writing or painting on the works to building the superstructures to putting them in, just so people can be part of the process. Because I think we need that nowadays. People need something that's positive and something they can engage with.
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea that you documented it, and it makes sense for folks that aren't as close as I am, so they can see it.
Exactly.
You know, anybody else has ever tried this before?
You know, I've been looking, obviously my friends all over the place are sending me articles and stuff, and I've noticed that right when we came up with this, there were people in California, there was someone in the Hamptons who were doing group exhibitions like this, but nothing on the scale that we've done, and they're all sort of in a more urban environment as opposed to this enormous hayfield. So that I think is the thing that makes it very unique, is that we live in this very bucolic, very beautiful small town, and you drive down the road and here are these ultra-contemporary artworks in this field. And I think it lends something to it as well. Being a working artist of 30 years now, I'm used to seeing my work in a very controlled environment. You know, temperature's perfect, the light's perfect, everything's right. Out here, I see the work at 6 o'clock in the morning. I see it by moonlight. I see it in rain, hail, and I see the birds on it. I mean, it's fascinating. And it's
like the birds are going to poop on it. You have to be okay with that.
They have been a lot, actually. So that's part of the process.
And it's really great because if people really do want to approach the art and get closer, we have now mowed a path through the field.
Yeah.
So place your car. You can get out of your car if you like and get closer to the works, but they are fully visible from the road. So there's both, you know.
So there's a total of 4, and I read on the press release there's going to be 5, or do you have the 5th one done already?
There are going to be 5 in our field. We also installed a piece at the Bennington Art Museum in Bennington, Vermont, that's 13 feet high. That's part of a national sculpture exhibit that's on display there.
Yes, they had seen what we were doing on social media.
And said, would you come do this
and
for
asked us to be part of this new exhibition, in particular because this is, you know, an unusual time and they're trying to find different strategies.
So we did a 13-foot piece there. And then we have a 40-foot piece right now, a little more than 40 feet, that we're sort of building and thinking about where we want it to go. It may end up in our field. It may end up somewhere in our community, but in the field itself, I'm thinking 5 will be the total number.
We're going to put 1 more, and then the exhibition will be complete.
Steve, so when I print something, and I'm always like, I'm running out of ink, and I got the little Canon printer. How big is this printer that you use, or your what do they call the dark room there? I'm like, it's got to be huge.
So I process all my own films in the studio, color and black and white. And then the printers, I have 2. I have a large Epson printer, which is what I'm using to make these. It's like the Ferrari of printers.
Okay.
And it'll print 44 inches wide by pretty much any length.
Wow.
So as long as I can get the materials, it'll print. And that printer I use for color and for black and white. And then I have another printer that I use for very special handmade papers called a Da Vinci printer. And there's only one left in the world, and it's in my studio. There were a total of 7 of them made at one time. And that prints only in black and white. And that prints even wider.
So talk to me about the creative end of it. You take all these beautiful pictures, Steve, and then you sit down with Eve and go, the pictures of your daughter or the landscape, and then Eve puts down the text of something that she's read that has also inspired her, and that's really how it's put together. And then you got to think of, where am I going to even put it in the field? Because I love the background. I mean, you have a beautiful hayfield with the mountains. I mean, I'm a mountain person. I love that whole. So there's a lot to this. Just, it's not like you took a picture and said, okay, Eve, here, write something on here, we'll print it.
Right. No, a lot of them, they're very much planned out in terms of, I have an idea that I sort of want to photograph, and then Eve and I will talk about it. And she always says, well, go ahead and try it and let's see if it works. And then I'll go ahead, I'll execute, make the piece.
Frequently using either me or our daughters
as models.
We're all models in the pieces.
For the last at least decade.
Yeah.
And then once I print the piece, actually before I print it, I show it to you, and we start to talk about what I was thinking when I shot it. And then Eve listens to that and ignores it.
Yeah.
And then goes off and writes what she wants.
But then he sort of hands me the football.
Yeah.
And then I go running off in some direction, and a lot of the time it's inspired both by what you're talking about, but also by whatever it is I'm responding to as well.
Yeah. And it ends up becoming this, we always like to say that I'm creating the silent movie and she's creating the soundtrack to the silent movie.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. I love the one with the river. And I got it here in my 15 different pieces of paper here. The fact that the thought about the water, and then eventually your river there goes into the ocean, and it was really heavy. And I thought it was a great idea of how you guys put that all together. That was beautiful.
That was the last piece that we built in the field. It's 32 feet wide. And that's a true in-camera collage and film. So it spans 4.7 miles of our river. So from our downtown to our house.
So
and the frames,
different exposures are taken at different points along the river.
Right.
And then they're all connected so that it looks as if it's sort of seamless.
Right, and it's all done in camera. It's not something I'm putting together later in Photoshop. And I wanted something that really sort of, the river was very much a metaphor for the voice of our small town reaching out to the world.
Right.
And then we added the gold stripe to the piece because Eve had this idea.
Well, in particular, because this was right in the throes of Black Lives Matter starting to explode. And I was doing a lot of thinking about skin. And so I had this thought about skin changing color at twilight, and what if everybody had the same color skin. I was very inspired by a story that I heard on NPR. They had talked about everybody singing in unison at one of these rallies, and the gentleman who was leading them in the singing said it was as if everyone had the same color skin in that moment. And I loved that image and wanted to somehow bring that into this artwork.
No, it's beautiful. It's a great idea. No, all human beings, one, no matter what color you are, it doesn't matter. I love it. Let me see if I could bring up, let me see how I do this here. I'm still learning all this Zoom stuff. Here we go. Where's the Steve? And let me just do it this way. Bring up even Steve's website for folks that are going to listen and watch us crazy. There it is. There's the website. So, and it's evensteve.com. So if you can't drive up there, you can go check this out. So was the first piece We Are Resting this one right here? Oh, this is the one by the museum in Bennington.
Yes.
That's not good. We can't see it.
That's the one at the Bennington Museum that we just installed. The first piece was called
which one is that?
The very first piece.
This one.
Yeah.
My Heart is Very Big.
Yes, My Heart is Very Big.
So that's
with the idea of you guys. My heart is very big with the idea of you guys, giving, embracing, and sending love to everybody.
Yeah, that was it. We were feeling this real sense of isolation and wanting to reach out to our community, and very specifically in terms of the artworks, but also just in a larger sense of wanting to reach out to the community and the world. So the words on that piece reads, "My heart is very big. Sometimes I wonder if it is big enough." And that sort of speaks to this time of uncertainty, but also of hope and optimism.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. Great, great job. Now, if I back out of this guy, which is the second one I should go to? Two Strong Girls?
That's
Yes.
right. And that's a picture of our two daughters that modeled
Okay.
that piece. And we
So-
went to a local lake, and Steve took the image there. And I was thinking a lot about how this made me think about fairy tales, and sort of once upon a time, there was two strong girls who lived by a lake, you know, and sort of making up your own personal mythology. You know, it's like we need a new language for this unusual time.
The works that we make, generally speaking, fall into three categories. Either we make pieces that are inspired completely from history, pieces that are site-specific, or pieces that are just a fiction, a narrative. And that's what this piece really much is. Some of the pieces are a blending of the three. And this particular piece is 13 feet high.
Wow.
What's amazing too is that when you stand at the edge of the road, it doesn't seem huge until you start to walk down the small path.
Yes, when you walk up to it, you go, oh,
This is
okay.
quite big, yeah.
I love it. I love the backdrop. Has anybody knocked on the door and said, you know, a suggestion box on giving you guys ideas of other themes or anything like of that nature?
Oh, nobody's done that
No one's
yet.
done that yet. We've had a lot of people, you know,
A lot of
coming-
people stopping, saying we love it, and I you know,
coming
we live
back
in a
again and
very
again.
small community, and so if you encounter somebody that you don't know, it's like surprising.
Yes.
And we've had people that we don't know, but who clearly live in the area, pulling over and saying, "I just wanted to tell you how much I love this," and it's like, wow, thank you. It means a lot.
You know, it's too bad you couldn't leave like a sign-in book just to see people sign in and where they live and where they're coming from, and to get them to further engage with your work and putting like their email, you know, leaving their email and maybe a little comment of a feedback of how impressed they were, where you could incorporate it into your website and stuff like that. I mean, I'm a business. My mind's always thinking business and management and thinking outside the box and how we could improve and what am I missing. It's easy for me to say this, but again, this is out for folks that have to understand. This is outdoors, so it's not like you want to leave a book on a podium and go, okay, sign in, because like you said, 50 mile an hour wind, and the book is in the mountains with the bears. So yeah, no, just different ideas.
Well, it's been a learning, and it's been a learning process too, because when we put the very first one in, we were not planning on putting a trail, and then we put the second one in, and you still didn't really want to do a trail. What we noticed is that people were driving down the road and stopping, and eventually they said, okay, the town might step in and say, you can't cause a traffic jam on the road. So that's when we put in the trail, and we turned one of our parking lots into parking, and we have little directional signs. So what I like is that it's accessible to everybody. If you've got mobility issues or whatever, you can totally view everything from the road. But if you're looking for just a nice quick walk on the beautiful Hayfield, you can walk it as well.
We get lots of traffic down our road. We get a lot of bicyclists, we get pedestrians, we get people who are headed to work. And I love the fact that we're getting people who, you know, we get some people who are coming specifically to see the work because they've heard about it, but we get a lot of people who are just like, whoa, what was that?
You hear the car brakes.
Yeah.
People
and
back up.
I love that. You know, people who might not necessarily seek art out or think of themselves as museum people are, you know, but they're still having the opportunity to experience some art.
And what I like about the artwork that you have up right now is that this was an interesting case where we could put the artwork in a site-specific place so the tree would come out of the artwork.
That's what I was going to get at.
Yeah, when you're at the road, that's exactly what you see.
That is so, so cool. I see you guys, you know, I pray every day that there's some normalcy, that we'll go back to maybe, you know, normal, or go back to work or whatever that may be. But I look at this, and the first thing that comes to my mind is like my sister-in-law was a principal in an elementary school, and I could see the kids, you know, field trip, come and see the paintings and learn about the importance of art, you know, about kids in kindergarten, you know, finger painting and stuff like this. This is just terrific. Yeah, this picture with the landscape and the tree is just amazing. That's what I said before. You draw it, you make it, and then you go, okay, so now the next thing is the placement of it. Were you thinking of the tree when you guys put this one together?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
When I was first putting that one together, I was walking down the road and I said, it could go right here with the tree.
Wow.
And I sat there and I sighted it and I said, I think it'll work. And then we built the structure and kind of put it there. And we had to figure out how far from the road that it could be and still be legible, but also connected to the tree. Because that tree is probably still another 20 yards, 30 yards past that. Just to give you an idea of the scale of how big these pieces are.
I mean, look, that one video you were saying, Steve, before all 5 of you is pushing this beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And okay, everybody let go, let it fall down, pull it.
Yeah.
Somebody lost a slipper. I'm like, this is too funny.
It's been great. We've had the whole family, involved, painting and, putting the works up and documenting it as well as being the model.
And I think that's one of the unique things to right now is that our daughter, Greta, is home from school. She goes to school in New York City, lives in Brooklyn Heights, and she's been home since March 13th with her boyfriend who was here. At one time, we had 7 people in our house. We've whittled it down to 5.
We now have 5.
But it's been great having the whole family.
Everybody's part of it, and I've loved that aspect of it.
Yeah, no, it's great. It brings everybody together. It reminds me of MTV Real World when you wake up and you're stepping over this one and that one and who's having breakfast and all that. That is fascinating. I can't wait to come up. I said to Gail, I'm going to let Gail know that my wife and I are going to take my nephew and a few others, and we're going to trek on up to check that out. Oh my goodness, very, very cool stuff. And Eve, author of Year of No Sugar. So that means I got to get on a diet. Year of No Clutter. You don't even want to see my room. I look at my wife going, when are we going to hit that closet? Because there are clothes we haven't even worn. Let's donate it. And now the next one is Year of No Garbage.
That's the one we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Even as we're creating these artworks for the field, that's my other life is I'm writing a blog. And, people can read the blog at eveshop.com.
And I see, Steve, you're being recognized, if I read this correctly, the Artist Book Foundation for your work of 30 years. First one in Vermont to be honored. Yeah,
they're doing a 30-year retrospective of my work. Everything right now, of course, because of the pandemic,
is on hold.
Timeline and stuff is tough. But they're going to do a 30-year retrospective on my work. And I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. Congratulations on all that. And again, thank you for serving in our military. Steve is a Marine Corps veteran who served in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm and a recipient of the Navy Achievement Medal. We can't thank you certainly for that. Okay, so now we need to segue into the music end of Eve and Steve. What do we listen to when we're painting and we're taking film? And what's cranked on at the Schaub house?
The funny part is I only play vinyl in my studio. So
I like you even better.
I'm a total vinyl junkie, studio and house both. So when I'm out here, I like it because it makes me work for 20 minutes. And then I get up, I move, and I change it. I listen to a lot of jazz out here. But you and I are big classic fans.
Sure, classic.
I mean, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we gave a lot of thought to this.
Yes.
And we came up with We Are Family because we were thinking about the whole family working on the artworks together.
Okay. The Sister's Pledge.
I came up with Touch of Grey by the Grateful Dead.
Not because of my hair.
Who doesn't love the Dead? I mean, you got to throw in a Dead song.
I know. It's Vermont, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
I got to confess, I'm a bit of a Deadhead from way back.
And because she is the dancing queen.
Oh, whoa.
They kind of have the dancing queen in there.
I don't know if disco's allowed. We threw that in there.
We threw that one in there. Yeah.
All right. Well, then I got the 3. I guess I'm gonna have to play, but that's no big deal. What was the wedding song?
Oh, what was our wedding
We had
song?
2. We had one by Elvis.
Yeah. I Can't Help Falling in Love with You.
And then we had Edelweiss from The Sound of Music.
That is
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Our kids grew up on that music and that movie, so yeah. We live in a town of 960 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so lots of time for movies.
Yes. It's a lot of time for movies.
Let me, before I let you go, did you have to get permits from the town to do this, to put the, not that I want to
This is a
start
very-
controversy.
Right now.
Well, and in particular, you may be aware that Vermont does not allow billboards of any kind. So if you were driving quickly down our road, you might accidentally think you saw a billboard. They're not billboards. They're not advertising anything. You know, they're not offsite from some other business. We looked this up, right?
But we have recently received a letter from our town zoning commission, just sort of wanting to clarify exactly what we're doing in the field.
Yes.
And I've had a nice conversation. This is a small town. And basically, they're not signs, they're not billboards, they're works of art. But the town has never seen anything like this before. And so I can understand.
It's a good conversation to have. What is this? What makes it art? Why do we, you know, and how does it benefit our community?
Yeah. I think this is one of the nice parts about living in a small town, is that if this was a major city, the lawyers would be descending.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Here, you get a nice phone call, you know, and it all works.
Yeah, but the positive, like somebody like from me coming from New York, from the Hudson Valley, I mean, you're bringing there's a good chance that you're going to bring revenue into the town to stop to get a Ben and Jerry's ice cream, to get gas, to come home, to get a bite to eat. I love checking out little communities. So, I mean, it's not like you're making money, you know, not yet maybe, but you know, it's all.
Yeah, we considered the whole project a gift to our community.
It's really a love. That's what we really thought of it.
I mean, we think of art as something that people need.
Absolutely.
Especially during times of uncertainty.
And art helps us, contemporary art helps us understand.
It helps us make sense of the world.
Yeah, which right now
and so it's kind of ironic that right now we're so isolated, we can't experience a lot of art in person. So this is our attempt to solve that problem.
Yeah.
Is there a thought of, again, Pat, the thinking business guy, is there a thought of maybe able to sell the pieces and donate it to a non-for-profit for the town?
Well, that'd be lovely, but that's the thing about them being temporary.
They're going to die.
They're not going to last.
No, but I'm saying, no. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
selling the prints, like selling the prints that you got, you know, just put it on your website and people can buy and sell the print and all the money goes to a non-for-profit, like the Bennington Museum.
Well, we could do posters like that for sure.
We could do documentation.
Posters.
That's another thing about Steve's artwork. Even before we were collaborating together, he always makes one artwork.
And that's it.
And there's, you know, even though it's photographic and you could make multiple copies, it's always one of one.
So the thing
makes it more special.
So the thing about this piece is that literally in 4 to 6 months, these pieces will no longer exist anywhere.
And all that'll be left is the documentation. The videos and stuff that we took, and it's
taken me a while to get over that.
That's hard to
Those are your babies. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Normally I make them to live forever, and this is a different process. But I have to say, though, it's been so great reaching to so many different people this way that it's been wonderful.
Do you have a trail cam, like that you show on your video, like the bike rider stops, or a car stops, or a bear stops?
No, we live right across the road, and if I hear someone out there, I grab my phone and I'm off and go. And I literally, anytime someone stops, and if I'm home, I'll go out and talk to them. I'll say, hey, where are you? We've had people come
safely.
Yeah, safely. You know, they've come from hours away. Sometimes it's a neighbor that I've never met before, you know, who lives a couple miles away, and we just haven't crossed paths. And so I almost always try to engage with people, or one of us do.
No, but I love this idea. Like, we could have a night cam and we could see if the deer are going up to the pieces and trying to figure out what
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. The deer, the bear comes up, takes a look at it. That would be a cool shot. I can't wait for the fall. I can't wait for the fall when the leaves start to turn, and the backdrop of that would be beautiful. Or even a snowfall where the snow's coming.
We usually get snow here in the first part, usually by Halloween. And so sometimes you still have foliage on the trees, and in the early morning it has that snow. And I'm really hoping that we get the foliage.
Well, I'm sure you're going to get some very interesting change of season shots.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then maybe like the fog, you know, that comes up maybe from the
that valley. This morning.
That would be cool.
Yeah, this morning, a lot of fog out
Did you go take a photograph?
I was sleeping. I was tired today. But
well,
I did photograph the moon. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to coming up to see you guys and hang out and chat. if you can't drive and you're out on the West Coast or wherever you might be, definitely go to eveandsteve.com. Check out the website. It is a truly one of a kind. Here's two great people that put their idea. Well, they couldn't use an excuse no more. We want to do this, and now you put something positive based on this lockdown, and look what turned out, man. So that is really, really cool stuff. I can't thank you enough, guys, for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the chat as much as I have.
Absolutely.
You got to tell us when you're coming, because we want to come say hi. And
we'll stop out and say hi.
Give the private tour.
You'll hear me pull up. You hear the music blaring. You go, the New York guy is here.
Awesome.
It'll be all good. Even Steve, thank you so much. Pat Soundbytes. We love art. We love music. We love it all. All good stuff. Thanks, guys. Stay safe and well.
Thank you.
Thank
you too.
Pat.
Okay.